The most dangerous person in the room is not the one shouting at you. It's the one smiling at you, while sharpening a knife behind their back. Imagine standing in a bright room. Across from you, someone greets you with warmth, their voice sweet as honey. But behind that mask, they are counting your every step, measuring every weakness, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the true face of danger. Not the enemy who shows himself, but the so-called ally who pretends to stand beside you. 5 centuries ago, Machiavelli warned, "He who seeks to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived." And the Stoics knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "Today I will meet liars, traitors, and selfish men, not to hate them, but to prepare his mind." Today's journey is about exposing those masks, layer by layer. 7 identification tactics from Machiavelli, sharpened by the cold discipline of Stoicism. So you will not only recognize deception, but master the art of staying calm, steady, unshaken, like a Roman emperor standing tall in the storm. If this message resonates with you, consider joining us here at The Stoic Habit. Subscribe not just for another video, but for a practice of strength, clarity, and inner freedom. Now, let's begin. 1. The smokescreen tactic: why liars fear silence. A simple truth does not need decoration. It stands on its own, clear, light, and unshaken. But a lie? A lie always needs paint. It needs extra words, dramatic colors, and layers of unnecessary detail. Ask a direct question and watch what happens. You say, "Where were you last night?" The honest person answers in one clean breath, "I was at home." But the liar builds a theater. "I got home around 9:37, cooked some pasta, watched this one Netflix series. My phone battery dropped to 12%. Oh, and I texted Jake. You can ask him." Do you feel the difference? They don't just answer, they defend. They build a wall of words before you've even raised suspicion. Machiavelli understood this pattern centuries ago. He advised leaders to use silence like a blade. Throw out a harmless question, then fall silent. Do not nod. Do not rescue the moment with your own words. Let the silence stretch. Because silence terrifies the liar. The honest man rests comfortably in it. The liar cannot breathe there. So he fills the void with clutter, with irrelevant details, with frantic attempts to convince you of a truth he does not carry. I once had a friend in sales. During weekly reports, his boss would simply sit back and ask, "How did the week go?" Some spoke plainly, "We closed 2 deals." But this friend, he would pour out a storm of numbers, excuses, weather reports, market fluctuations, and every time, the more he explained, the more obvious it became something was being hidden. Eventually, the truth came out. His numbers were inflated. His words betrayed him before the data ever did. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "Whoever defends himself with too many words accuses himself in the process." And that wisdom is as sharp today as it was 2,000 years ago. So here is your practice. The next time someone answers you with too much, do not interrupt. Let their own words weigh them down. Listen, observe, stay calm, because truth needs no armor. But lies, they collapse under the weight of their own decoration. 2. The mask slips, reading the face that cannot lie. You can control your words. You can rehearse a story, but you cannot command every muscle in your face. The mouth may perform, but the face always forgets the script. Imagine someone saying, "I'm happy for you," yet their smile flickers too quickly, vanishing before it reaches the eyes. Or they say, "Of course I trust you," but their gaze breaks halfway, sliding away as if pulled by gravity. Or they declare, "I would never lie to you," and their voice suddenly jumps in pitch, like a violin string stretched too tight. These are micro-expressions, tiny flashes of truth that escape before the mask is adjusted. Machiavelli would call them the cracks in the armor. The Stoics would call them reality breaking through illusion. Because no matter how polished the performance, the body always tells the story. I once watched an interview with a famous athlete accused of cheating. He denied everything with perfect words. But in the half-second before he spoke, his jaw clenched, his eyes blinked too long, and his tone betrayed a fear he could not hide. Months later, the evidence proved what his body had already confessed. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "See not what a man says, but what he does." And sometimes what he does is as small as a twitch of the lip or a shift of the eyes. So here is your practice. The next time you suspect deception, stop listening to the words you want to hear. Instead, watch the moment before the answer. Hold your gaze steady. Do not smile. Do not blink. Simply observe. You will see the hesitation, the mismatch between voice and expression, the silent confession that words tried to bury. Because a lie may dress itself in language, but the face is always naked. And once you learn to see the slip of the mask, you no longer fear deception. You witness it clearly, calmly, as if watching a play unfold on stage. 3. The script that never breathes. Why repetition exposes rehearsal. Memory is alive. It bends, it shifts, it adapts to the moment. But a lie is brittle. It must be memorized. It must be rehearsed. Ask someone about an event, and an honest person will tell you the same story in spirit, but never in the exact same words. They'll say, "I left the party early. It felt strange." Another time, they might say, "I walked out before midnight. The vibe was off." Same truth, different flavor. But a liar clings to one version, word for word, tone for tone, like pressing play on a recording. Because for them, consistency is survival. Machiavelli would see this not as strength, but as weakness disguised. Repetition is the footprint of rehearsal, and rehearsal betrays fear. I once tested this with a colleague. On Monday, I asked why he had missed a meeting. He said, "My car broke down on the way." On Wednesday, I asked again, casually, "So what happened that day?" He repeated the same phrase exactly, "My car broke down on the way." Same words, same rhythm, same excuse. It was no longer memory, it was a script. So here is the Stoic practice. Change the angle. Ask the question in reverse. What happened before the breakdown? Or shift the timeline. What time exactly did you call for help? The truth will flex, it still holds. But the lie collapses when the stage directions are lost. Seneca once said, "Truth is simple. Deception requires rehearsal." And this is the heart of it. The more someone fears contradiction, the more tightly they cling to their prepared lines. But in doing so, they reveal themselves. So the next time you sense someone performing, don't push. Simply observe. Ask again, later, with subtle differences. And let the silence measure their words. Because truth breathes. It lives. It moves like water. But lies, they suffocate inside their own repetition. And once you learn to hear the script that never breathes, you'll never mistake performance for reality again. 4. The verbal maze. How liars stumble when the path changes. An honest mind is fluid. It adapts, it adjusts, it bends without breaking. But a lying mind is rigid. It knows only the path it has rehearsed. Change the path and the performance collapses. This is the power of the verbal maze. You ask a question that seems harmless, yet it bends the conversation sideways. After you left the event, which road did you take home? The honest person doesn't think twice. They recall the turn, the streetlight, maybe even the song on the radio. But the liar freezes. Because which road was never written into the script. And when the road is missing, the mask begins to slip. I once saw this happen in a corporate investigation. An employee was questioned about a missing file. He said, "I dropped it off in the office after the meeting." Days later, he was casually asked, which office was it, on the second floor or the third? He hesitated, stammered, and tried to change the subject. "Why does that matter? I already told you I dropped it off." But in that stumble, the truth revealed itself. The story was never real. Machiavelli would smile at this. He knew, if you bend the stage, the actor breaks. And Stoicism gives us the discipline to do it without anger, without accusation, only observation. So here is your practice. Next time, ask a follow-up that changes one small detail. Not aggressively, not suspiciously, just casually. An honest person won't even notice. But a liar will feel the floor tilt beneath them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands with nature stands firm. What is forced soon crumbles." And deception is always forced. It cannot adapt to surprise, because surprise belongs to truth. So learn to bend the path. Shift the angle. Ask the unexpected. Because the truth is a city you can enter from any gate. But a lie is a dead-end street. Change the direction, and you will find the liar trapped in his own maze. 5. The reverse blade. Testing loyalty with a lie of your own. Sometimes the sharpest way to expose a liar is to become the one who plants the seed. Not a malicious seed, not a cruel deception, but a controlled test. A lie of your own. Machiavelli called this the fox's strategy, quiet, cunning, invisible. If you suspect someone cannot be trusted, do not accuse them. Instead, give them a piece of information that only they know. Something harmless but unique. Then wait. The truth is patient, and betrayal has no self-control. I once worked with a man who thrived on gossip, so I told him, casually, that I was considering moving to another city. I never told anyone else. Within days, colleagues began asking me about my big move. The lie had traveled on its own feet. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. His tongue had already revealed his loyalty. This is the reverse blade. You hand someone a weapon, dull and harmless, and watch where they swing it. If your words come back to you from another mouth, you no longer have a friend, you have a courier of deceit. The Stoics remind us, we are not here to control others, only ourselves. So use this tactic not with malice, but with discipline. Never plant a lie that can harm, only one that can reveal. You are not poisoning the well, you are simply coloring the water, so you can see where it flows. Seneca once warned, a false friend is more dangerous than an open enemy, because the enemy you can see. The false friend you cannot. So here is your practice. If you doubt someone's loyalty, give them a single thread, spun from fiction. Step back and watch who wears the cloak. This is not revenge. This is clarity. It is the art of protecting your peace by letting deception expose itself. Because the liar's worst enemy is not your anger. It is their own tongue. And when you learn to set the trap with patience and silence, the mask will always fall. 6. The controlled confession. Turning vulnerability into a mirror. There is a hidden truth about human nature. We mirror what we are given. When someone shows vulnerability, most people feel the urge to respond in kind. And liars are no different. Except they see your confession not as a bond, but as permission. Permission to finally expose their own hidden game. This is the art of the controlled confession. You do not reveal your deepest secret. You reveal a safe, calculated imperfection. Something that costs you nothing, but feels authentic enough to invite trust. I once tested this with a colleague I suspected of bending the truth. Over coffee, I said quietly, "You know, I used to lie sometimes, just to get out of uncomfortable situations. It felt awful afterward." He looked relieved. Then he leaned in, lowered his voice, and admitted, Yeah, I do that too. Actually, last week I told our manager I finished a task I hadn't even started. That moment told me more than months of observation ever could. Not because I accused him, but because I offered him a mirror, and he stepped into it. Machiavelli would call this psychological jujitsu. You use the weight of another against themselves. The Stoics would call it discipline, sharing just enough to measure a man's response without ever risking your peace. Here is your practice. Offer a controlled confession. Say, I used to exaggerate my achievements made me feel small inside. Then, watch closely. An honest soul will respond with empathy or mild agreement. But a liar? A liar will see the green light and begin to expose themselves. Remember, never confess something that can harm you. Invent a weakness if you must. One that sounds real but carries no weight. This is not self-sabotage. It is strategy. Seneca once said, "The one who pretends to open his heart too much is often the first to betray yours." So learn to open the door just a crack, enough for the liar to walk in. Because once they do, they tell you everything you need to know, without ever realizing they've spoken. 7. The reset glitch. When the performance ends, the truth appears. A lie is a performance. It is a costume worn for the stage, a smile rehearsed for the spotlight. But no one can act forever. Every mask is heavy, and eventually it slips. This is the reset glitch. The moment when the show ends, and the body reveals what the mouth worked so hard to hide. I once met with a business partner who showered me with compliments. His words were warm, his handshake strong, his smile flawless. But as we ended the meeting, I caught a glimpse of his reflection in the glass door. The smile vanished the instant he thought no one was watching. His shoulders sagged, his jaw clenched, and in that unguarded second, I saw the truth. A month later, his betrayal proved what his body had already confessed. Machiavelli would say, "Never watch a man only when he knows you're watching." The real story begins when he thinks the stage is empty. So here is your practice. Pretend to look away. Shift your eyes, but keep your awareness sharp. Observe how the face changes the second attention fades. Notice the tension in the jaw after kind words. The legs angled toward the exit while pretending to engage. The sigh that escapes once they believe the act is over. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The true measure of a man is who he is when he is alone." And in these still moments, you glimpse the solitude of truth. The honest man has no mask to drop. His posture remains steady, his tone unchanged, his presence calm whether watched or unseen. But the liar? The liar glitches when the performance resets. He cannot maintain the mask once the audience disappears. And this is your edge. You do not confront, you do not accuse. You simply observe, silently. Because the truth does not shout, it waits. And when the mask falls, when the glitch appears, you hold clarity in your hands. Not as a weapon of rage, but as a shield of wisdom. 8. From detection to strategy, the Stoic way of using clarity. You've now learned how to detect a liar. But the real question is, what comes next? Both Stoicism and Machiavelli whisper the same warning. Do not rush into confrontation. If a friend lies to you, stop giving them your secrets. If a colleague lies, keep them within sight, but never hand them power. If an enemy lies, let them keep talking. Every false word becomes a rope they quietly tie around their own neck. Seneca once wrote, "The flatterer is more dangerous than the open enemy, for at least with the enemy you can see the spear." And he was right. The hidden lie is sharper than any open attack. The 3 types of liars, as classified by Machiavelli and the Stoics. 1. The insecure pretender. They lie to inflate themselves, to appear greater than they are. They are self-deluded, living inside their own illusions. How to deal with them? Let the truth reveal itself. Place them in environments where real knowledge and skill are tested, and their false image will collapse on its own. 2. The strategic manipulator. They lie with a clear purpose: to climb higher, to divide others, to gain advantage. This is the most dangerous type. How to deal with them? Watch their allies closely. Do not confront them directly. Evidence and cold, disciplined silence are your weapons. 3. The emotional manipulator. They lie with tears, with anger, with the mask of victimhood. They twist reality to escape blame, turning every confrontation into a performance. How to deal with them? Machiavelli advises, remain silent. Stoicism teaches, remain calm. When you do not react, they lose their power. Conclusion. You don't need to shout, "You lied to me." All you need is a calm smile, a clear memory, and the patience to let them tangle themselves in their own web. Machiavelli warned, never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, truth does not need to be shouted, it only needs to be seen. When you learn to watch, to stay silent, to observe, you don't just expose liars, you turn them into tools. They think they're clever, but with stoic eyes and a disciplined mind, you are already 10 steps ahead. If you've ever spotted a liar through one of these 7 signs, share your story below. And if you're ready to build an unshakable mind, subscribe to The Stoic Habit. Because once you see the truth clearly, you are no longer just protected, you are free. Leave a comment. I choose clarity over deception.